Next person to testify is Mrs. Sheri Okun from DeKalb County. Is that, I probably did not get that pronunciation right either.
Yes, but somebody stopped my video, so I need to be able to show, I need to start my video.
Huh.
Okay, there we go. How you doing? Thank you guys so much for letting me be here. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, ma'am. Let's just tell us where you're from and you may proceed.
Okay, great. I'm from Dunwoody, Atlanta, DeKalb County. So a family member and I voted early and in person on October 19th at the Dunwoody Library in DeKalb County. You know, I'm going to share my screen because I got a couple things to host disabled participants. I need to be able to share my screen to show you guys a couple things. Can the host allow me to share my screen, Molly?
Yes, we would just, make sure we don't, again, mention names when we're doing some of those things, testimony, or show them.
You should have access now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Can.
Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen. That's not what I wanted to show you. Okay, so when we voted early, we voted on these touch screens, just like you're seeing here. The piece of paper came out, and right after that, a poll worker said to me, well, greeted us and looked at our ballots. And he said to me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be looking at who you voted for, even though it was showing right on the top of my screen. Right on the top of my piece of paper ballot, but I need to see the QR code on top of it to see which scanner to send you to. The same poll worker did this to everybody that was there. My family member and I were both sent to the same scanner. The other people in our fairly blue district before me and after me were directed to the other scanner after the poll worker looked at their ballots. We both voted for Trump. They probably didn't. I attended the Sidney Powell rally at Wills Park last week or whenever it was. And I got up and asked the audience, hundreds of people were there, if anyone else had had this experience, because one of the congressmen recently told me it was illegal for them to be looking at my ballot. And many people, I'd say 1 out of 20 raised their hand. Many people came up to me afterwards and said that it happened to them. A woman told me that she took her 85-year-old mother to her precinct, and it happened at her mother's precinct where they looked at the top of the paper to tell them which scanner to use. But it didn't happen at her own precinct because there was only one scanner. So after I spoke at that rally, several of my friends, some of which are from Dunwoody and voted at the same place that I did, the Dunwoody Library, texted and called me and said, yeah, that happened to me. It was very strange. So, it's illegal, and there must be good reason for this. I strongly encourage every one of you, and I hope I don't get cut off here because this is factual information. I encourage every one of you to look at the Democracy Suite ImageCast Central User Guide, May 31st, 2019, on the Secretary of State's website. It is right here, okay? This is it. And you will notice that on page 18, it instructs users how to re-zero the tabulator to, quote, clear the scanned ballot results and remove all processed batches. Chapter 4, page 24, right here, is entitled Poll Worker Mode, and it allows Dominion workers to set the scanners to either accept, this is, quote, accept or discard batches, end quote, while it's running, which kind of sounds a lot like what may have happened in Floyd County, and we don't know how many other counties. So page 25 and 26 instruct users how to manually discard batches. Are y'all there? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We've got you.
Okay, good. So I want to continue. So with the batches,
Oh, we lost your audio. We lost your audio.
to the bottom were emptied without following procedure, chain of custody, and that the ballots, which are basically pieces of paper with our pics on them but no signature, were taken out. The ballots that were taken out were not labeled or locked, and some of them were stored in unmonitored warehouses in Fulton County haphazardly. And even that some of those bags of ballots were put in the back of a Dominion worker's car. So when in our history, I ask you guys, when in our history has a voting booth company been present at our polling places, let alone managing them and holding power over these election officials, staying after they have left for the night in our townships, our cities, our counties, and all across the states in America? When has that ever happened? Never. And how were the Dominion friends, I heard people testify to, Dominion friends and family allowed on site and our sacrosanct voting process to quote unquote help? So now I'm going to move on to something else. There was illegal curing of ballots occurring after the election. Let's go to Gil Freeman's. Well, let's go to this real quick. Gil Freeman at Gil for Georgia posted this on November 4th. 40,000 rejected vote by mail ballots in DeKalb County need to be cured by Friday, or they will be tossed, mismatched signatures, etc. Now, when you look on he deleted this tweet, but if you look up online on factcheck.com, they say it's not true. That didn't happen. Well, here's Gil Freeman's Twitter page, live Twitter page right here. So we go to November 4th and look at what we have. We have him saying, help voters over the next few days to cure their absentee ballots and provisional ballots so that every vote is counted. We're recruiting canvassers. So you click on this and look where it takes you.
Ms. Okun,
Yeah.
if you please, we're trying not to share names.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
But I need to show you this because it's very important. On November 4th, the Georgia Democrats created this Georgia Cure Canvasser Recruitment Phone Bank. Help us recruit Cure canvassers in Georgia. All you need to join is a computer and a telephone. We will be calling on volunteers in Georgia and asking them to knock on doors to help voters through the process of curing their ballots. The deadline to cure ballots is Friday, November 6th. Let's fight. Okay, so that's this, okay? And Georgia code, as you all know, it allows ballots the chance to be cured for certain reasons, failure to sign oath, various things. So right out of 419C2, to facilitate cures, Georgia law allows the relevant election official to notify the voter in writing. This is a quote right from our laws. The Board of Registrars or absentee ballot clerk shall promptly notify the elector of such a rejection, a copy of which notification shall be retained in the files of the Board of Registrars or the absentee ballot clerk for at least 2 years. If they want to cure their ballots, they have to fill out an affidavit with a provisional ballot. So volunteer canvassers are not, and phone bank callers and door knockers set up by the Georgia Democrat Party after the election ended on November 3rd to canvass Georgia. That's illegal. Who gave the Democrats the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the Georgia absentee voters that had not returned ballots? I mean, that had not filled out their ballots correctly. I'm wondering if it's the same people that gave those names to the ACLU. On November 6th,
Ms.
Hillary Clinton.
Okun, I don't mean to interrupt you. We've got a minute or two.
Okay, so, all right, I'll finish real quick. I went to this, on November 6th, Hillary Clinton posted this. I went to this site, democrats.org/Georgia-ballot. I went there. It asked me to upload my signature. It asked me to upload my voter information on my signature. Just to be clear, it did not take me to the SOS website to see if my absentee ballot was cured or was accepted. It asked, so they were literally, the Democrats were literally November 4th, 6th, 5th, procuring people. I know people who went to this site and uploaded their signatures, and there's nothing in Georgia law that allows for an electronic upload of signatures to cure an absentee ballot. It's affidavit only. And the next thing I'm going to show you and tell you is that the day after the election, a family member called me, texted me, and let me know that they checked my absentee ballot status and it showed unavailable. That family members also showed unavailable on the SOS system. We checked several other Republican voters that we know, and every one of them showed absentee ballot status is not available. Then we checked several Democrats that we know, and every single one of them showed accepted. My question is, why? And at Wills Park, many people also told me that they had the same issue. They're Republicans and they voted, and it showed the day after the election that their absentee ballot status was unavailable. So that's a little scary. The last thing I'm going to tell you is that most, if not all years that I voted prior to 2016, I voted Democrat. My initial registration would have been Democrat. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We're kind of at 13 minutes.
Okay, so I just want, so the family member that lives in my house is a registered Republican. I received calls and texts nonstop prior to the election from Democrats and quote unquote nonpartisan groups using Stacey Abrams' name in the headline urging me to vote. They knew my name and my voter information. My family member, the Republican, received no calls or texts from the Democrat Party or the purported nonpartisan groups. And this is the kicker. I, as the registered Democrat, received at least 8 absentee ballot applications to my house, to me only. They were perforated with 2 ballot applications on every single one of them. And my family member, the Republican, received, and that was all from the Secretary of State's office. My family member, the Republican, received nothing, 0, nothing from the SOS. And that's it. That's my testimony. I'm sorry but you guys, I mean, the Georgia Democrat Party created a canvassing group to knock on doors after the election to cure ballots, to make phone calls, and that is illegal.
Ms. Okun, I appreciate your time. I will say this and kind of reiterate it, that I regret that we don't have, we only have so many slots and so much time.
Yeah. I just want to make sure you guys realize, because there's no law and order. There's none.
Right. So we got Mr. Joe Sapp with